This is Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. An informal chats with top business moguls as they share their stories of failure and success in a fun and relaxed way. Get entertained, educated, and unlock the secrets to success.
Welcome to Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman. I'm here with a fascinating and fun guest. We were filming in the store for this guest, Tina Loyd. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to be here in your store. Your store is absolutely incredible. So we're in a bridal, wedding dress, formal gown store.
Yes, you're at Terry Costa, so thank you all so much for coming out to the store today. We really appreciate it at Preston 635 here in Dallas. So yes, we are basically bridal. We're primarily a lot of prom and homecoming dresses and evening wear, mother of the occasion, and every special occasion that comes up, we're here.
Now, I'm excited. So you're the owner and the CEO of Terry Costa.
That's correct, yes.
And I'm amazed by the store. I've been here a few times, and I want to definitely talk about the wedding industry and what it means. And every time I've driven by when I moved to Texas, I would see the store in the sun, and I would think those gowns in that store is super expensive. It's far out of my league. I thought maybe tens of thousands of dollars for the dresses. But it's a beautiful store. But how did you end up becoming the owner and CEO of Terry Costa?
Okay, well, first let me say thank you for coming back.
Yes,
yes, especially with the crew.
Right.
Yes, so, we are really, our original motto was, dreams within reach. So, everyone is welcome at Terry Costa, and, you tell us what you're looking for in your budget. We are here. We're here to help. But to answer your question, how did I end up here? I'm from a small town in Missouri, and I basically modeled my way through college. I paid for college as I went. This was a really long time ago. And during that process, I worked a lot as a fit model in the fashion industry back in the 80s when sample size was a size 6'8".
Sure.
So yes, we had our size 2 now.
Right.
So I got lucky on that aspect, but basically I worked as a fit model, and I kept on falling back on the modeling as a supplemental income after I graduated Missouri State University with a degree in communications and a minor in theater. Okay. And then from that point, one day our showroom got really, really busy, and it was called Precious Formals. Yes. And I ended up jumping in, starting to sell. And so then they said, hey, do you want to come help us out during prom season in Houston? And this was back in 98. Sure. And I said, sure, I can do my graduate classes remotely, which was a big thing back then. Right. And so basically I went and I did, and it was supposed to be 2 months. 2 months turned into 2 years. And then after that point, I met Terry Costa, who was one of my clients, and it ended up not working. And she said, hey, do you want to come? Have you ever thought about owning your own business? And I said, well, yeah, I've thought about that. She goes, well, why don't you come here and give it a try? And then 6.5 years later, I earned 15% of the business, and then bought hers out with an SBA loan. Okay. And that was back in 2007.
Well, so I need to come back to you on the SBA loan because that's quite fascinating. But the wedding industry, now I've seen the bridal stores kind of go through an evolution. David Bridals was probably one of the largest in the country, and I've been to a few of their stores. Yours is a really unique experience, though. And the neat thing that I'm seeing is that I think the boutique bridal and wedding dress and prom dress stores are still around. They haven't, you look at some other industries like the office supply industry. There are very few small boutique office supply. I used to go to one of those growing up, but they're now the Staples and the Office Depots. But the bridal industry seems like there's still a huge following for a local store. How did you find your path? So your store has grown a lot, and you can tell me about your expansion recently, but how has it stayed relevant in the industry from a business perspective? You offer just a wonderful service.
Oh, well, thank you. Let me say that's just an excellent observation on your point, because our industry, the bridal and formal industry, is one of the few industries left in the United States that is basically small business operated, whether it's on the wholesale side or whether it's on the retail side. We are all mom and pop businesses, basically. And so we're one of the few survivors. And I think it's because there's really that emotional connection that happens. So when our customers are here, we really want to make sure that it's a special experience. And so we're honored that they've decided to come to Terry Costa basically for their special occasion. I mean, their wedding day. I mean, like, that's one of the most important days of their life, and they've chosen to come to us. And so we're honored when they do that. And prom is something, I mean, most of us women remember exactly what we wore to prom every year we went. And so, you know, it's a very special occasion. So we're honored that they come back to us. So we're very, very happy when our guests are here. And I think just building on that word of mouth over the years, we've been around for nearly 40 years.
Wow. Okay.
And so I think that just, you know, word of mouth and good old-fashioned customer service allows each retailer to continue to survive year after year.
Right. And that's amazing. I had someone to ask me, they said, make sure you ask this question. And the question was, where do people come to find Terry Costa? Because you are in Dallas, Texas. You're a big operation in Dallas, Texas, but you have one location. People coming from around the world and finding you across the country. I know people really, I took a trip not long ago and ended up looking at a trunk show in another state. I think I was in Arizona. And I thought it was interesting. I happened to see one here at yours, and you inspired me to look at other places across the country. But how far do people come to find you? Do you know?
We are very honored to we've had guests that fly in from California.
Amazing.
We've had guests, you know, we have a lot that come in from Oklahoma, from Louisiana, that drive in from sort of, you know, the 4-state area that come here. And we've had people come in that say that, you know, I flew in from Missouri, or I flew in from California, and various places across the country. So that just tells me that it's even more of a responsibility and a privilege for us to help that customer.
Well, it's great when you build a strong brand. In today's world, you have a lot of technology and social media, and so sometimes building a brand can be a little tricky, but you've established that, which is great, such that people are finding you, and that word of mouth is so important. But before we talk more about the business, tell me about your small town. I think you grew up in a town and a school with how many people in your graduating class? Was it 20 or so?
I had about 19. 19, not quite 20, but from a very small town called Billings, Missouri. Population 911 back then. It's not much larger now. But basically from small town beginnings, and you know, you learn the value of hard work and taking the initiative. And did you grow up on
a farm or anything? Or
yes, I grew up on a little beef farm, and my best friend had a dairy farm. So and she had horses. But
so were you up early? I know farming is a tough business. You're up early, and you're this, you know, depending on whether or not it rains a lot or you get a lot of sun, it's a lot of hard work.
Yes, it's a lot of hard work. You know, I was an only child, so my dad was out there doing, you know, the majority of the work. But however, we did chop ice, which that means I said that to one of my team members lately, and they looked at me like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what that is." So it's like when the pond freezes over, you got to go out there and chop a little square so the cows got somewhere to drink water.
Oh, interesting.
So so you get up in the morning and do stuff like that, and then in the summertime you rake hay. Yes, and then so. Fun story. Worst job I ever had was on a Christmas tree farm one summer, and that was hard because you had to shear the top of the Christmas tree and get it just the right size. So they said I couldn't do it, but I said I was going to finish that summer, so I did that. Yeah, so fantastic. That makes you appreciate things.
Well, and that's important for me as I look at businesses across the country. What are the values that you learned growing up that helped you become a great business leader and run an organization like what you're running today? And those values play a part in that process. And the fact that you worked through college as well says a lot about your determination and focus and drive.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was very, very fortunate to have a grandmother who believed in me and who was there always supporting me. But yeah, you worked your way through school. You started, working at basically, 14, and whether that was babysitting or, working at the local Sonic drive-in.
Right.
You basically just did the work that was at hand. And so I think that's important to know. I think, one of my favorite quotes is by Emerson, and it states that success is missed by most people because it's dressed up in overalls.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I think that's one of the things, especially in retail, people are like, oh, retail,
Sure.
but it's really about taking what you have at hand and making the most of it.
Right.
And then that gets you to the next step and the next step, and just having that perseverance.
And I had a conversation just the other day with a similar premise to a young man that's starting his business. And we were discussing the idea of making it perfect before you start. And I told him, you can't worry about perfection. You just have to start. And as you mentioned, you continue to grow and expand and evolve as part of that process, right?
Yes. My saying nowadays is that we're a work in progress. And I think we will always be a work in progress.
Right.
You have to, as an individual or a company, either or. I think that we always constantly have to strive to work to better ourselves and challenge ourselves, and that's how you survive. I'm a strong believer in either you grow or you die.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Now, tell me about your store, because the store itself is just impressive. How large is it? Is it roughly 50 dressing rooms? I forget the number, but it's a massive number of dressing rooms. And it's so impressive. But tell me about your store and what it feels like. So when a guest comes and they find your store, what will they experience when they walk through that front door? You see the dresses, which are beautiful. I don't know if people can see it behind us on the screenshot. But the dresses are beautiful. It's just amazing. But you have it in zones. But there's a whole experience that happens when you walk in, which I find amazing.
All right. Well, thank you for that. We're about 17,000 square feet, and we have a variety of different departments. So we have bridal, as we've mentioned. Our largest department is our prom, our junior department, prom and homecoming.
And I don't think people would recognize that, by the way. Not to interrupt you there, is that the prom section is really large.
Yeah, the prom is actually 67% of the business.
It's amazing.
So and bridal is only 16%.
Right.
So, and we also have our mother section, which is about 11% of the business.
Your mother section.
Yes,
okay.
the mothers evening wear social event, which has been growing. So we're very grateful for having a great team that's making that progress happen.
Okay. So you mentioned bridal, and then prom, and then a couple of other sections as well.
Yes. So basically the experience when they walk in will depend on which area they're going to. So bridal, we're fortunate since we just expanded within the last year and a half. Bridal has its own separate entity away from the prom girls.
Right.
And so they have their own experience over there. If they have an appointment, then we have a designated area for them in bridal. And we also take walk-ins. You're always welcome at Terry Costa.
Okay.
Everyone is always welcome. So we also take walk-ins over on the other side of the store as well for bridal. And then for prom, you come in, a lot of the young ladies have a dress in mind on their phone that they're here to try on. So, show us that dress. We'll find that dress.
Amazing.
We recommend that our guests pick out 5 dresses, and then we get them into a dressing room. And then from that point, that's when our stylists are very trained in dressing the body. So when they get in the dressing room, we need to see them in the dressing. We don't want them to stay in that dressing room. So that's like the wrong thing to do.
So Tina, tell me about that experience, by the way, because you've been doing this for a while, and I find this a lot with my CEOs and people in their business. They take for granted some of the little things that a new person walking in as a customer find absolutely amazing. So this is your business day to day. But again, there is a whole process. So someone walks in, you have Terry Costa in neon when they walk in, and you see these beautiful dresses. And then I presume people greet you and kind of show you the store. What does that feel like for a first-time customer coming in? I think that experience is just so incredible.
Well, it's really going to depend on the time of year, but yes. So when they walk in through the door, we've got a hostess crew and a front desk customer service crew that's there to greet them and sort of get them guided. And then when we're in our busy season, we ask that hey, let's find out, is there a particular style or anything you're looking for? So a lot of our dresses are in plastic, which there's just rows and rows of dresses. And so we, kind of get an idea of what they're looking for. And then we know the inventory, so we can go grab that dress that they're looking for and then get them, help them select their 5 dresses. And then we'll get them into a dressing room. And then once they come out of the dressing room, then they've got their trained stylist that's there ready to help them. So once she sees the young lady in the dress or the bride or the mother, then from that point, they're going to be able to pull strategically, knowing on what your desires are. Okay. So what, we basically have 3 B's, which is your belief, your body, and your budget. Okay. Right. So once we know, what our goal is and what we want to look like and what we're trying to project for that day, it's our job to empower our guests and make them feel beautiful, and make them feel, let them be able to pursue their dreams, because when you feel great and you feel like you look great, then that's going to empower you to do what you want to do.
For the people listening in,
podcasts are so popular, even monkeys are doing it.
75% of Americans listen to podcasts monthly. That's 210 million people in the United States alone. And yes, podcasts are profitable. Joe Rogan is making $30 million per year. Your content, your knowledge is worth sharing. Don't just dream it, do it. Visit andycostafilms.com/podcast and turn your content into leaks.
Because I've been, as I mentioned, to a bunch of other bridal stores, and they have rows of dresses, but there's nothing like what you have. You have these mirrors. You have these elegant framed mirrors for the wedding side. That's incredible. You have these podiums that people stand up on so they can really model the dress and see what they look like. It is an absolute amazing experience. I wish they had some more like that for the guys when we try on our tux. Right?
I tried tuxes for a little while, and I said it's best to stick with what you know.
But it's a great experience. Again, I went to one recently just to understand what other locations look like. It didn't feel, this is elegant. This is like walking into a Rolls Royce dealership and getting that experience, which is incredible.
Well, thank you for that. We try to have fun with it too. Right. I mean, that's the most important thing, is we want it to be an experience for our guests. We got the runways for the kids. And
we're sitting in front of one of the runways.
We're sitting in front of one of the runways so we've got the runways, the little selfie mirrors, and then in bridal, the more elegant mirrors and the individual seating areas for the bride's family and friends.
So you mentioned the bride's family. You have to talk me through that process. Who do they usually bring in? I've not been on that end of the process as a bride.
Okay.
Right. So I don't know what that feels like when they come in with their entire group of people. What do you usually see when people come in? Do they have their brothers and sisters or moms? I presume none of the brothers. I'm not sure. But one thing I want to note, I was doing some research, and the white wedding dress that we know today really started with Queen Victoria back around 1840. And so there's been this evolution and this shift and this change where the white became the formal wedding dress. Beforehand, it was a lot of different colors. They wore anything. But that white dress that we now know today started in about 1840. But what do guests come in with, and when they go through that process of trying to find and test the dress? And then I want to ask you, I've seen Say Yes to the Dress and some of those other programs, and to see the entire family cheering and the bride is crying because she finds the right dress, it's such a moment.
Yes. Well, good. Kudos to you for doing your homework. But so Yes to the Dress, the TV show has actually really changed the experience of the bride. So the bride, it really depends on the bride, on who she brings. A lot of times, it's the mother or the sister and best friend. We recommend about 3 people.
Okay.
But sometimes people like to bring a lot. So we like I said, everyone's welcome at Terry Costa. Right. But we do recommend about 3 to make it a little bit easier to make a decision. So basically they come in and, they get a warm greeting and we get them in the rooms. And then basically it's entertainment from that point. Okay. It's the stylist's job to find out, envision her wedding, what she wants for that day, and go from there. So it's just like Yes to the Dress. Everyone's got their little section and they go from there, which is very different from where it was, say, 10, 15 years ago.
What was it like 10, 15 years ago?
10, 15 years ago, it was kind of like a free-for-all and a little bit more of a free-for-all. We all, it was more of, grab your dresses, go to the room, and then the stage areas worked for the brides then. Okay. But it's because of this evolution is why, one of the reasons why we needed to expand and create a different environment for our brides to move with the times.
Sure.
That our status quo was no longer going to work. We had to change.
And that's pretty amazing that you were willing to make that shift. and you saw times changing and you shifted with it. And a lot of times companies are late to that transition, and they miss out on an opportunity to save their business or grow their business because they missed that moment. But you found that moment.
We did, but we might have been a little late.
Okay.
But we got there.
Okay.
Yes, and also our prom business was growing. So, the prom girls love the brides.
Right.
But I don't know if the brides necessarily love the prom girls. We still made it where the prom girls can peek in at the brides and have something to look forward to. And hopefully we get to see that prom girl again when it becomes her wedding day.
Well, that's an interesting concept, the idea of having the prom. So these are high schoolers seeing what they might look like in the future.
Yes.
It's kind of neat.
Yes, yes. So, it's kind of a dreamy and a prom girl's mind of, okay, I'll go over there someday when the time comes.
Right.
So, yes. And hopefully we get to see them a little bit in between for social events and other weddings. But, yes.
And so as part of that experience, though, you're giving champagne to those that are over 21, and it's a whole event. You said, kind of the entertainment value of the whole event.
Of the whole event, yes.
Right.
Well, once you say yes to the dress,
Yes.
we do a celebration champagne toast with the family, and then we have a special little area in bridal with the big chandelier, the bigger mirrors and everything, and we have the wedding march that lands, and we all clap, and so. So it's kind of like, everyone has their private area, but it's also a shared celebration with others, which makes it, we still haven't lost all that fun with it. Right. Yes.
Now, what's been, you think, one of the more special moments in your career in seeing that process occur? Like I worked in home building and some other industries, and I can say one of the most memorable experiences for me was there was a piece of property that we acquired. I went out for the groundbreaking in Southern California, place with thousands of homes. So there for the groundbreaking, no homes yet. And then when I went back a few years later and I saw the homes built, the families living in the home, the kids playing in the park, that was special because it was now a community. But I suspect you have those moments that might be more memorable to you when you have a great bride that finds that dress and an elated family. Do you have any that stand out for you?
You never know exactly when, even after all, 20 plus years of doing this, that you are like, you never know when a bride is actually going to sort of touch you in a way. And I see my consultants, I even see my bridal coordinator, is like, oh, you tear up. We got Kleenexes on the draw all over the place. But, there's, some moments that they really do touch you. I know one time we had a bride who had recently, she actually got married. She had a child. Okay. And the fiance passed away.
Oh, no.
And so, yes. And then so it was really sad. And then like a year later, someone else came into her life.
Oh, fantastic.
And was, kind of really bringing it back. And she had she was getting married again, and he was a great guy, and the whole family was very, very supportive. And like we'd sold her first dress, and then we're like, wow, you're already back, Wow. And so it was just, building that relationship even after something tragic had happened, that this bride came back and trusted us again, and that we had built that relationship. Sure. That's always special. And then one that's getting me lately is when I started off as the bridal manager. Okay. And so I will have moms come in with their teenagers and say, how long you been here? And so a lot of people don't know I'm the owner because I'm out there working. And I'm like, a long time. And they're like,
that's fantastic.
You sold me my bridal gown, and I'm back with my daughter. And it's her senior prom. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, having
that
repeat.
We have a student here with us today who is a high school student, and she was telling me that her mom purchased her wedding dress from here.
Okay.
And it brought back some memories for her, and I think it's giving her some ideas on what that process looks like when it's her turn to marry and pick her own bridal dress. I actually called a friend of mine and asked her wedding story before coming in today. And she was telling, she's from New Mexico. And she went to New Mexico, which is where her family still resides. They picked out her dress. She had a similar event and experience in New Mexico. She comes back to Texas. And then she said the dress was shipped and she was going to make the alterations here in Texas. She puts on the dress and she said that she starts bawling, that she's just crying. The dress didn't feel right. It didn't look right. It wasn't what she wanted. And she'd already gone through this process. And then she began to question is this a reflection of the person that I'm about to marry? Do I need? And she was going through one of those. I don't know if you've seen this. She was going one of those moments. Then her mom called. They had a conversation. Her mom flew out to Texas, and they went to a new bridal shop and went through the experience again. And she picked a new dress, and she said it was absolutely perfect. She got married. Her husband is perfect. And the experience was good. But I can only imagine, and this is someone who worked in the White House, who's a very confident business leader. But those moments can be emotional, right? And having that right dress is so critical. It just makes you feel confident and prepared for that next phase in your life.
Yes. We've had that happen.
Okay. I suspect so.
We really just, making sure the bride is happy, and that's what they're going to want, and they're going to be happy with the end product is the most important thing. Right. Yes, and that they're confident.
So, Tina, I know we're at the end of our program, but I'd love for you to talk me through prom dress, wedding dress. What a normal cost could look like. I know that it depends on style and the bride or the high schooler who's selecting their prom dress. But I've actually been surprised. I thought before coming here and visiting your store a few months ago for the first time, it seemed like the dress would cost $10,000, $20,000 or higher. I mean, it's such an elegant store, and what I was hearing from people is that dresses are expensive. And the dresses here are elegant, they're beautiful, but the cost isn't as much as I thought. I saw dresses, wedding dresses for a few hundred, and I saw prom dresses very similar. And then, of course, you have the higher-end dresses that cost more. But you can actually find a phenomenal dress here at a good price.
Yes, we have a wide variety of price points. For our prom, it literally, we have things as low as like $199, and we go up all the way to about $1,500 for a prom dress. And once we hit our couture division, more. But the average price point of a prom dress is about $495.
That's incredible.
So
I had a student tell me $1,600 is normal. So $400, $499 is great.
Yeah, no. So, most people go to prom, thank goodness. Right. Yes. Right. So, that's the average price point, around about $500 for a prom dress. And then for a bridal gown, our average price point is about $1,500.
Okay.
Granted, we have lower, we have higher.
For the bridal gown?
Yeah, for the bridal,
that's incredible.
So, it's really, very reasonable prices. Granted, if there is an award given in Dallas, Texas for having the widest variety of clientele, I think we might win because we have everything from people that shop with us that are celebrities to people that hey, I got to put this $199 on layaway, and that's fine, and that's great. So and for me, we're here to help everyone. We're making them feel welcome, have a fabulous experience, because you never know when that person is going to be that couture customer.
Right. I love it. Well, when you come back to the program, I definitely want to talk about the layaway. I know that's a question that's on your website as a Q&A. And I want to discuss as well on the next program the debutante quinceañeras that you might be involved with. The debutante is still a big thing here in Dallas, Texas. It's an important event for a lot of families. And so I want to talk about some of those items the next time. But what trends are you now seeing? We'll end with this. What trends are you seeing in the wedding industry?
In the wedding industry, we're seeing a lot of lace. We're seeing a lot of basque waist.
Okay.
The ball gowns are coming back in, but it's got to be just right and not be too heavy of a ball gown. So we're seeing a lot of traditional styles resurface.
Okay. And I had a friend of mine ask, I spoke to another one who's close to that Gen Z era. I said, what are you seeing in your space as a young adult from a wedding perspective? And she told me a few things that I found fascinating. But one of the items that she mentioned is that a lot of the bridesmaids and the moms, one, for a bridesmaid, they can get pretty expensive for that bridesmaid, $300 plus for the dress. But she said that she's finding that a lot of her friends are allowing the bridesmaids to wear different colors and different styles. I don't know if you're seeing that as a trend as well, versus having all the same dress, same color. But are you seeing that in the wedding industry as well?
Yes, the bridesmaids are definitely changing right now. So we've even debated doing away with the traditional bridesmaids, but we haven't quite yet. So we still have the traditional bridesmaids, and then we were very fortunate because we have our huge social dresses, and so with the prom, there's some that will cross over as bridesmaids, and also with the social occasion, there's some that cross over. So that bride tells us what they're looking for, and when they allow the individual bridesmaid to pick her own dress, it's really great because then she's more likely to wear it again, and it's an investment that's not going to be just a one-time wear.
Now, you said wear the dress again. So where are you seeing that occur? That was one of the questions I had for a friend of mine.
When you got lots of social events, and especially here in Dallas for a lot of the women, because there are more social events in Dallas and more charity events to go to, then, it's always good to have a few evening gowns in your closet so you're ready to go if you get asked or you're ready to go to the next event.
Right. And so that's a good point as well, and maybe the next program I can ask you how you market to wedding and prom and special events. But you're right, there are a lot of functions, fundraisers and formal events. There's a lot of activity in Dallas, and you've positioned Terry Costa very well in that space for anyone can come to you for any formal need of any kind, right?
Yes. So as mentioned, we've been around for nearly 40 years. So yes, we get all the different special occasions that happen in Dallas. And so, we're really here just to, put their dreams in reality and make sure they look fabulous for their event.
Tina, this has been absolutely incredible. Your store is amazing. My words do it no justice at all. You're doing something really special, not only in Dallas, but you've now expanded across the country just from your reputation and people coming to Dallas to visit your store. So thank you for all that you've done from a business perspective, your business leader perspective. And by the way, I joined in on your stand-up this morning, and I definitely want to talk about it the next time. It was a great event from a business event perspective. The hospitality do stand-ups a lot, so to see it operate in your business was really neat. But you're an amazing business leader.
Well, thank you for all your kind words. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman.
Thank you for listening to Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. Please be sure to subscribe and share, and stay tuned for more incredible Business Decoded episodes.